Hello world, and we are back. My name's Kyle Fischl. This is going to be episode 136 of my poker vlog. For this one, I play a 2-5 session at One Eye Jacks in Sarasota, Florida. It's a Saturday night session, a huge amount of action. I get in for 3 full bullets, more than I would like to, have a ton of hands to go over. Before I get into it, if you're interested in playing with me at my 1-3 meetup game at Orange City Racing Car Club, that one's coming up in a few weeks. We do 1-3, $10 bomb pot, fun, friendly atmosphere. Love to see you all there. Definitely going to make a video about that one. If you're unable to make that, I'm always playing on Club GG online about 3 times a week. They even have the $1,000 free roll tournament every Thursday night. Will be tonight, the day this video uploads. So if you're interested in playing a free roll tournament, it will be there. And now, let's roll the tape. On the first hand of note, there's an under the gun straddle, 1 player limps, the cutoff raises to $40. I'm on the button with Queen 10 of hearts. Definitely think it's strong enough to call. Think it'd be a little too weak to 3-bet, so we're gonna just call and play this one in position. Well, the small blind and the limper call, so we go 4 ways to a flop of 10-7 deuce, 2 clubs, 1 heart. Feel pretty good about this board. I have top pair, good kicker, backdoor flush draw, plenty of draws to get value from. The pre-flop aggressor continues for 75. To me, I think that continues would include like ace king, ace jack, sometimes a club, maybe jack 10, and sometimes I'm going to run into a better 10, but I don't want to just call this one and give the 2 players behind me a decent price to be able to continue as well. So we're going to raise this one. The cutoff only has about $400 total in his stack, so if we get it in here, so be it. Top pair, good kicker seems good enough for me, so I raised to $210. Plan works so far. The 2 middle position players both fold, and then the pre-flop aggressor decides to go all in for less than a min raise, so I did not raise to $200 to fold for less than $400, so we're going to get it in here. We both agree to run it out twice, as that is definitely my go-to, and on the first board, the first turn card is the deuce of clubs. Clubs complete, which is one of the hands I was hoping he would have that would play this way. So not feeling too good about the first board. 5 of diamonds, also no help. King of spades, a safer one. Queen of spades on the second river. If we were against like ace 10, we beat that hand. Feel pretty good about this. But no, my opponent flopped a set of 7s, and he's going to get a full double up from me. Not starting out too hot in this session. We get to a better angled seat and win a small one before. There's 1 limp. I raise to $30 with ace king off suit. The button and the limper call, so we go 3 ways to a flop of jack 7-3 rainbow. When it checks to me, I expect my opponents to miss a high percentage of the time. Unless my opponents have exactly like ace or king jack, they're probably going to just fold to a c-bet. So I could bet small here with ace king. I would also do it with overpairs, but ace king is definitely going to be included in that. I bet $40, and I'm instantly punished when the button raises to $125. And on this particular board with my particular hand, it's just going to be a fold. C-bet did not work out this time. On the next interesting hand, I'm in late position. I raised to $20 with jack 10 of spades. Only the big blind calls, so we're heads up to a flop of 10-9-5 rainbow. So flopping top pair, decent kicker, feels pretty good. When checked to me, I'm going to go closer to 3/4 pot. Don't want like ace 5 and king queen to be able to see the turn card for a cheap price. So we're going to try to protect our top pair, decent kicker. We bet $30. My opponent calls, and when the turn is the 3 of hearts, being is about as safe as I could ever hope for. We're going to size up here a little bit. Definitely want to go for some protection with my top pair. So I continue for $85. My opponent thinks for a very long time. Says he thinks I only have ace king. Thinks about calling. Well, if you can only beat ace king and not a pair of 10s, I'd be happy with a call. But he eventually lets it go, and we pick up the first medium-sized pot of the day. Similarly to that, with 1 limp, the small blind completes. I look down at pocket jacks in the big blind. Gonna raise it up again, make it $20, pretty standard. And we get an identical flop on 10-9-5 2 clubs. If I'm gonna bet top pair decent kicker, I'm definitely gonna bet an overpair on this particular board. But I don't get the chance as the small blind leads for $25. Now, normally these small leads on the flop are usually draws, either flush draw, straight draw, 7-8, queen jack, although unlikely as I double block it. But really clubs is very prevalent here. So sometimes you could raise this, sometimes you can call. I get to play in position this time. I think my overpair is very strong, and if my opponent was for some reason lead betting small with a weak 10. I want him to be able to continue to bet a second best hand. So I'm going to just call this one. The late position player calls as well, so we're going 3 ways to a turn card, which is the 8 of diamonds. So now there's a 3-liner out there. This time the small blind checks to me. I'm not going to check this one back. The board's getting kind of dicey. I do double block the nuts of queen jack, and I have an open-ended, so overpair is definitely going to be a bet here. Don't want clubs to be able to see a card for free. Can get value from a 10x hand, so $75 is going to be the wager on this one. But both players decide to fold, and we take down another pot, which brings us to a $10 PLO double board bomb pot. 7 players put $10 in the middle, and on the first flop of 9, 6, 4, 2 diamonds, second flop of ace, jack, 3, 2 hearts. I have 2 pair on one board, a single pair on the other board. I feel like I'd like to thin the field here a little bit. 2 pair could be the winner. I've seen plenty of these double board bomb pots go to showdown where one person has only a single pair on one of the boards. So thinking I'd like to build a pot here and thin the field, I bet $50. 2 different players call, so we're still going 3 ways to 2 turn cards. Top turn card is the ace of clubs. Bottom is the queen of hearts. So I turn 2 pair on the top board, have 2 pair on the bottom board. I think 2 pair and 2 pair are pretty good in PLO. It's hard to have a decent piece on both boards. Honestly, in the moment, I did not notice that hearts completed on the bottom board, which makes this definitely a punt, but I choose to pot it here. Wish I would have seen the hearts complete, or I would not have done that, but I think that my pairs are live. Don't see too many straights very likely out there. I pot it for 260. And both players call a second time. Well, I have 4 outs to hit a full house, and I get to 2 attempts to hit one. Either board a full house should be the best for at least half the pot. But the top river is the 8 of hearts, and the bottom river is the 7 of hearts. Actually pretty good, all things considered. 2 more hearts out there make a flush kind of less likely. I check, hoping we can just get to showdown and 2 pair will win one of the boards, but I do not get the opportunity. The player to my left pots it himself for about $800. Would put me all in. This is a horrible spot. I'm probably absolutely losing the heart board, but ace is full of 8s in this point. Should probably win the top board. I think about it for a long time. Really don't want to fold. Really think he just has hearts. But eventually I just decided it would be too much of a punt to put all this money in there. Hoping for just 2 pair on one board in a PLO bomb pot hand. My opponent would confirm that he only had hearts and had nothing on the other board. So not the best result, but I'd say in general you should just fold here. Following that, I am in early position. I raise to $15 with ace 5 of diamonds. The button and the big blind call, so we go 3 ways to a flop of queen 8 deuce 2 diamonds. Flopping a flush draw, as we've seen, I will bet small with top pairs, over pairs, just ace high. So an ace high flush draw is definitely going to be all in that range of betting small on this flop. I bet $25. The button folds, but the small blind decides to call. So we're going heads up to a turn card. Hope I can turn a diamond. Ace of spades is just as good, honestly. Hoping my opponent just has a queen and will now pay off a medium-sized bet. If for some reason I'm beat, I have diamonds to fall back on, so I continue betting pretty happily here. I bet $50. My opponent calls again very quickly. River is the 5 of hearts. We get kind of a ridiculous backdoor 2 pair. Think I have to go kind of big here and polarize, try to rep miss diamonds, because technically that is what I have. I bet $125. My opponent thinks for a little bit, but unfortunately folds, claiming that he had missed diamonds. Ugh, would have been nice if they completed. One-time dealer. Ugh. Oh well, we still take down a pot. Feels pretty good. We get moved tables. This table has a little bit better lighting for footage, and that's why I somewhat prefer it, as well as a shuffler, and it's a bit smaller. A few reasons I like this table. But with 3 limps, I look down at pocket queens. Also a very nice sight. I raise to $40. Because of all the PLO double board bomb pots, people are throwing money around very liberally, so we can size way up on this and really punish players for playing wide ranges. And even 40 might not be enough because 2 different players decide to limp call. Know you're at a good table when that happens. Flop comes 10-7-4, 2 hearts. Not really interested in letting heart draws or 8-9, 5-6 get to see cheap turn cards. So definitely have to size up here a bit. Make it 3/4. I bet $85. And apparently neither opponent connected anyway significantly. They both fold. The next hand of note, and this is probably the hand of the session in my opinion. Early position player raises to $20. I'm in middle position with ace queen of spades. I 3-bet to $60. Suited ace queen's definitely strong enough to 3-bet. Happy to do it, especially at a table where they'll call with pretty much any 2 some of the time. Well, the big blind and the initial raiser call, so we go 3 ways to a flop of ace, jack, 7, 2 clubs. On this flop, the big blind just leads out for 50, and the middle position player now calls. And it's on me. As I said previously, these leads on flops like this are typically flush draws, straight draws, maybe some weak aces or weak jacks want to see the turn card for cheap. But regardless, this one's not going to be cheap. I don't really expect my opponent to lead with any flopped sets or 2 pairs. I think they're happier to just check call or even check raise. So these leads in general are draws. I'm not going to let them see this turn card for cheap at all. We have top pair, we likely have the best hand, and there's even scenarios where we raise here, the initial leader just folds his flush draw, and the caller calls with an inferior ace, putting us in an even a better position. So, happy to raise this one up on much larger side, $260 it will be.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
The flop leader calls pretty quickly, hoping for just a safe turn card, and then I can just pile all in. Only have about 700 left in my stack. But the turn is the 8 of clubs. Why wouldn't it be?
Of course.
Well, that completes relatively everything. My opponent had 9-10, that gets there. 7-8, obviously clubs. It's just like pretty much the worst card in the deck. My opponent checks to me. I'm obviously not going to put any more money in on this particular turn card. I check it back. River's the 9, so, you know, even if he was doing some weak Jack 10 crap, that gets there too. And my opponent does not take very long before announcing all in. And I pretty much snap fold. Like, feel like I got all the money in with the best hand, and then put no additional money in when I was dead. I guess it's nice. My opponent's nice enough to show me queen 4 of clubs. So, boy was he drawing thin for most of the entire hand until he turns me dead. That one is very disappointing. But we can shake it off. We have ace-jack offsuit. When the same player from last hand limps, I raise to $20. Ace-jack offsuit's definitely going to be an open from me. And the big blind calls as well, so we go 3 ways to 9-9-4, 2 diamonds and a heart. Having neither diamonds nor hearts and just ace high when it checks to me, I think this is a board where my opponents are going to miss an awful lot. So we're going to bet here. Hope to just take down some dead money. Ace high could be good some of the time. I bet $35. The big blind folds, but the limp caller calls again. Turn is the jack of hearts. Brings 2 flush draws out there. And now my opponent leads for $100. Now turn leads into flop aggressors are much different than flop leads. Turn leads are typically, I'm so strong that I absolutely do not want this to check through. So am I literally about to bluff with ace jack high, turn top pair, top kicker, and then just fold when I finally have a hand? Well, I guess so. I really don't see any other hand doing this besides a 9. So I fold. Probably the most exploitable player in the world is me at this point. But my opponent's nice enough to show me 9-7 offsuit. He is running very good against me. Very good. The stack is decimated. We're into the game for $2,000. Have $400 in front of me. Nothing's really going my way. But we're going to top back off and try to bring something back. Happy I did top off because the next PLO bomb pot, I river quad aces on the bottom board and have 3-of-a-kind 4s with the ace kicker on the top board to get a full double up against what was essentially just pocket queens from my opponent. So this one was definitely needed and very much appreciated. So we're going to battle back. We play another double board PLO bomb pot. I have ace jack jack 3 with suited diamonds. And the top board flop is 9-8-4 all diamonds. Bottom board is jack 6-5 rainbow. We flop the actual nuts on both boards. Doesn't happen too often in the double board PLO bomb pots, but when it does, we definitely want to build a pot. I don't really see a reason to pot it just yet because the nuts can change quite a bit with 2 more streets to come in PLO double board. So $30 bet thins the field slightly. 2 later position players call. So the pot's building and the turn card is top one is the ace of hearts. Bottom one is the 4 of spades. Opens up a 3-liner on bottom, so no longer the nuts there. Still technically the nuts on top board with ace high diamonds. So we're going to continue to try to build the pot. Bet $100 would be great if we could brick the top board and pair the bottom one and get nut again. $100 only sheds the button, but the cutoff decides to put in the call. So we're going heads up to 2 river cards. Can I retain the nuts on the top board? One time, dealer. Well, this is that time. Top one is the 3 of clubs, so we have the nuts. We're guaranteed half the pot. Feels great. Bottom board, can we pair? Nope. 8 of spades. Well, 7-8 was already a straight, but now spades are introduced again. I do have a 3 blocker. I'm not sure how relevant that is, but I think potting it here has the chance to have my opponent fold the bottom board and let me just win the full pot when I'd be chopping otherwise. So we have one option when we have nuts on top. We pot it. The number will be $350 bet. And after a decently long tank, my opponent eventually calls. Well, I assume I'm chopping, but no, he's got king 9-6-6, so he's got second nut flush on top and a worse set on bottom. We are scooping this one. PLO double board bomb pots can be massive. Sometimes the swing goes your way, sometimes it goes the other way. That's what makes these fun, but this one is gonna go our way. Super happy about it. So now we're dangerously close to our $3,000 buy-in that we're in for right now, but still down about $700.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Before the next hand of note, I have king queen of spades, and with a button straddle, I raise to $30. Middle position player calls. He's been my nemesis of the day, and we go heads up to a flop of ace queen 4 rainbow. No spades. This is going to be a pure check call for me. Second pair, decent kicker. I would check call with some of the best aces some of the time. A rainbow board would probably be included in it. So I check, and my opponent bets $130. Well, the just snap 2x pot bet is hard to analyze, really. Not really sure what I can say about this besides, I guess only call when you have sets or 2 pairs. There's no real reason to call this one with a second pair. You'll have plenty of better spots, and if your opponent does this consistently, you can just take advantage of him when you finally have a hand. But this is not going to be that hand, and we're going to let this one go. But just kind of fun to show how crazy these Saturday night games are at Sarasota One-Eyed Jacks. Which leads us to the final hand of note. I look down at 2 red jacks, and under the gun, we're only playing 5-handed. I raise to $20. All 4 of my fellow 1 o'clock in the morning degenerates decide to call, so we are going 5 ways to a flop of king 8-4 2 diamonds. Only 1 overcard is not the worst flop in the world, so I'm going to go into a check call mode with this one. When I check, a later position player bets $75. Not going to just fold jacks just yet. I think folding to 1 bet is too weak, so I make the call. Turn is the 6 of diamonds. And now my opponent bets 75 a second time. The consistent betting makes me think he has a weak king, honestly. So think of my jack is live, my diamond's live. Maybe if an ace comes, I can bluff him off of it. But we're going to just call a second time, hope to realize some equity or get a dangerous looking river card to bluff at. When I check, the river is the 5 of hearts. Well, dangerous river card has been achieved, but for some reason I take an extremely bad and incorrect line and just check and give up. I think at the time it was late and I was tired and just thinking that I had some showdown value when really this should just be a lead bluff attempt 100% of the time. The board doesn't really connect with my actual range of under the gun opens, but not certain my opponent would ever even realize that, and I think this is just a fully exploitable spot where you can just bet big and hope to get a king to fold. But I check, he snap checks it back, he has king queen, and jacks are dust. Played horribly, I deserve that one.
You make a fool of me and everyone here. You put that kapoop in your mouth.
So we're into the game for $3,000, out of the game for $900, which is a $2,100 loss. We are there for about 7 hours, which equates to $300 an hour or 60 big blinds an hour going in the other direction.
He's not crying. He's not crying. Don't cry, man.
I'll eat the shit. I don't care.
Results, very much not what I wanted today. Very much wish that some of the hands went the other way. Most disappointing is the ace queen, where we raise with the ace high board and get turned absolutely dead. Get several $100s in there with 70% chance to win to 0 is not going to result in a winning session for me. My next video does cover a little bit about how to get out of a downswing. Be on the lookout for that. It'll be coming in the next few days. As always, thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing as the 2 videos a week will continue, and I will see you on the next one.